Not too many tools you need for this. Wire strippers, crimpers, Phillips head screwdriver, some wire clippers. This is just in case you need to clip the housing, but you could probably use this too. The first time I did it, I used this little hacksaw to cut the housing, but today I'm going to use a coping saw because it'll be better to go around corners. And I will need a zip tie. So, let's see if I can put this in. Let me see, 1 second. There we go. Get this into my... So I'm going to grab a zip tie or two. Okay. If you don't do this stuff a lot, I totally recommend having something to put the screws in. Nothing worse than like your cat coming by and taking your screws, or you forgetting, or there's just 5 screws on the back. You can use a regular screwdriver, but here we go. One thing I have discovered is the wiring color inside of these doesn't signify anything. They will use red wire for negative and black wire for positive, or all black wire. It's kind of nuts. So I got the 5 screws off the back. And then, oh, we have the sticker on the front. Breaking this sticker probably voids the warranty. I don't know if anyone's ever actually gotten Lagenda, or whoever actually makes these, to do a warranty. Okay. I got one more. I don't think I have one more. No more stickers. Let me see. Oh, there is one more. Duh. And make sure you learn how to count to 5. Now, if you take a look as you undo this, keep in mind, so you know how to put it back, look at how the hose went around the motor. That makes it a little bit easier. Let's see if we can get this down in here. This looks like a newer one. So what we need to do is we need to remove this battery. We need to remove the transformer. This is what charges the battery when you plug it, the AC outlet in. And then what we're going to put on in its place is this Ryobi battery hookup, and this is called a step-down converter, and this converts it down from 18 volts to 12 volts. It actually comes with a little connector. When you're using the connector, it's nice because you don't have to use the crimps. And then what else will I need? I used this, a hose clamp, and the way I used it is to hold the battery receptacle onto the side of the housing. So we'll use that later. And then some crimps. They're like 10 to 22 gauge. This was like $4 or something. Oh, so first step, let's see, would be we're going to clip this zip tie and not nick any of the other wires. Okay. So we're going to pull that back. It's something I like to do. Let me see. What I like to do is mark the things I do need to play with and don't need to play with. So first thing I like to do is find the positive for the battery. And I've got it right here. And if you notice, we have this wire here. This comes from the transformer. I think that's what it's called. Power converter, transformer, I don't know, but it takes AC power. I'm not a pro at this. I'm just fooling around. So it takes AC power and converts it to DC. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that so I know what those are coming off. And we're trying to get rid of that anyways, so that's not a big deal. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to actually decrimp for the power for the battery. If you notice it right here. The red we don't need, and then this one here goes to the switch. If you follow the other red wire that comes off the battery, it goes here to the bottom end of the switch. So I'm going to put another marker on that. I was putting battery positive so I remembered that that's what we were using. Okay. And then and take the top of this. What I like to do, so you could probably just cut all these, but I like to make sure I can save as much of the wire as possible. I could possibly reuse that if we need to. So, I'm just going to go ahead and take that. Where is that going? I want to see if I can snake this out to get it out of the way. There we go. So that one's going to go eventually to the positive wire of this thing. We're going to get that there someday. And then we don't need this red wire. So you could actually, since I'm not going to need it, I'm going to snip it so it doesn't get in the way. You don't need to, though. You could leave it alone, especially, you know what, I'm going to leave it alone in case I need that for a different machine. And then, see, and then the battery positive terminal wire is over there. So that's good. Oh, I was going to do something here that helped me last time. Is I'm going to see if I can get this hose out of the way. This right here, they have little hose clamps. They're not too hard on the back to get the T out of here, and that way you get that hose off of the center section. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this without lying. Get more. Okay, that's better. Okay, and do a little bit here. See, I've gotten that one done. And this isn't going to be a short video by any means, but I think it's very brave of me to try something like this on a live video. But hey, I know there's thousands of these things. So this, you can hook this back up later, which is good. And then what you can do to give you more room, you're not going to need this. This is the part that you plug into the wall to charge it. So you're going to snake this out once again to give you more room. Now this is that battery terminal for the dead battery, the battery lead. You're not going to need that. This you're going to need. You're going to want to keep these on, but if you wiggle it, you can move this up and out of the way. So now you can get that battery out. So what we're going to do, we're going to complain about this hose getting in the way again. So this here, we have a negative, and this negative wire, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this negative wire goes to the top of the switch. It is the, so it goes to above where this wire went. So I'm going to mark that. You know, when I got into balloons, I didn't think I was going to be rewiring balloon pumps. And this is negative to switch, and this part is going to go to the negative to switch is going to go to the negative of this Ryobi converter box. So we're going to take that, and then I'm going to get this and I'm going to decrimp this. Make it loose. There we go. And let's detangle these two. Okay. And that should be that. So this is the battery. The original battery, this is where I'm going to talk about batteries a little bit. The original battery is a 12 volt. It says 11.1 volt, but it's really 11.1 to 12.6 volt. 6,600 milliamp hours. Okay? So when you're dealing with the Ryobi tools, this one here says 1.5. That's like 1,500 milliamp hours. This one here is 4. That's like 4,000 milliamp hours. I have found them on like knockoffs on Walmart site, and where you can get two. I think they were 6 amp hour for with a charger for $50. I don't know how reliable they are, but I have a bunch of Ryobi ones, so that's where I ended up. So we have a couple more wires here we have to do. Let's get this guy out of the way, and let's see if we can get this out. Yeah. So what we have left is we have this black one, then this one goes to the motor. This is the thin lead from the charger. This goes to the motor, and then the other black side goes to the board. We don't need this in there. So you can either clip it there, or you can crimp it and then recrimp it. I'm just gonna see if I can get this crimped, this clipped low. I feel like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. Okay, so now we don't need these two because we're not going to be charging it that way anymore. We're going to be using the Ryobi charger. And then there's the green lead. Now, I think I know what this is, and I think this is the part that tells the board when it's charging, because this goes to the board. As I said, I'm just kind of I figured this out, and I'm not a giant electronics freak. So I just clipped the green wire, and I'm just going to leave that black wire just hanging. And then we don't need this anymore. So now you've gotten rid of... I do take these because I want to be able to cushion the step-down converter here. So we don't need this anymore. We don't need the battery anymore. That makes it pretty good. So next, let me look at my notes. Okay. So I believe now is the hard part. and that is that I have to cut the housing. When you cut the housing, oh, here's something I want to say. When you order this, you want to order, it's a 18 to 12 volt Ryobi converter, and you don't want the one with the switch. The reason why, and I made this mistake, is the one with the switch goes too far in, and you can't fit both of these electronics in there at the same time. So I purposely got the one without the switch for the second time doing this. Okay, so what I did is I measured this part here, long and deep, and I want to cut this little bit bigger than that, because I want it to sit a little bit below this lip, so when it closes perfect. I was going to say, I need a white marker. Now, will my white marker work? Woohoo! It's a working white marker. And that was... Sorry for being a nerd, but this is going to be, I think it was 41 millimeters. It's just, honestly speaking, it's just exactly enough room. So you kind of want to cut it right on this side, right on the other side of this post right here. If you see that post, the screw hole. And then you want to get it just so it fits before that motor. Let me show you exactly where I'm cutting that. Okay, so what I'm doing, where I'm cutting this is I'm going to be cutting it right on this side of that, so I don't touch that, and then right on this side of the motor, so it fits perfectly in that little slit. Okay. And this right here, this is made for, what is it, must-see TV, is that what they used to call it? Oh, how do I know how deep it is? It's going to be 33 millimeters deep, I believe. Definitely double measure. Okay. And what I'm going to do really quick, and the reason why, a couple things is, why aren't you using a Dremel? Reason why is the Dremel might create too much heat, and heat will make the plastic melt instead of cut. This I didn't do the first time. I might regret this, but I'm going to see if I can get a couple holes here in the bottom. Watch your fingers, so that I can turn the blade easily. Okay. Perfect. I'm actually surprised how easy this was. Now, as I said at the beginning, I have not, I do not know the condition of this pump. I'm assuming it has a broken battery. There is a danger that you could end up fixing a pump and end up not fixing a pump, but just gutting a pump. Okay, so now, let's see if this works the same. And if you're using a saw, you want it to have a high teeth per inch, because that cuts plastic better than like low teeth per inch. It might be slower, but it'll be cleaner. And this is probably the hardest part, because you gotta, besides and what I'm doing now is, since it's a coping saw, I can actually turn the blade sideways. You can get it at like Harbor Freight for probably $10 with a blade. There we go. I don't know what I was saying. But, yeah, this is probably the hardest part, is cutting this. And the placement is the best placement. Trying to get it between the motors is it just wasn't going to fit. You could put it on the other side. It's possible it could fit on the top. I kind of like, I'm trying to get this blade like the correct direction. There we go. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna take the blade out now, and then, because it'll be easier if I just go straight. Oh, you know what? I could do it straight up. Yay, coping saws. They're so weird. Yeah. There we go. And now I turned the blade, so now the blade is facing up. I knew there was a reason why I took wood shop in 7th grade. As I said, I made it work with just that little weird hacksaw thing. I have no clue where I got that. And you don't have to be a surgeon with this, because you're going to put that giant plastic thing in the way. Okay, so this, trash. Coping saw, don't need that anymore, I hope. Let's see if I measured it correctly. Oh, there is also in this one, my other one came with the fuse inside of it. I personally wish there wasn't a fuse, because if the fuse blows, that kind of means you got to open it up and change the fuse. You could potentially cut a hole in it, but I'll just pretend like we're not going to blow a fuse. Okay, so get that fuse in there, close it up. So now, dun dun dun, which way did I did it this way. We're going to put this here. Okay, and then where did I put this part? I'm going to put this was on the other side. This was wedged in here, in that spot, so I'm going to use this to wedge the buck converter against the pump, because why not? Use that to keep everything in its place. Come on, feel the mold. Here we go. Get that in there. What I'll do is I'll get that in there, and then I'll show you from above, because I'm sure that's a horrible view. Okay. Like this. Yeah, there we go. Do I have enough room? I have enough room. There we go. Okay, so let me show you how this works, how this is sitting in here. So we have this, I leave a little bit of room here right now. I'm going to put glue on here, and I'm going to clamp it down, and then I'm going to put a clamp on this side, so it's going to be really there. So we have the Ryobi on this side, the buck converter, and then the wiring can sit between the two motors right here. And we have this handy dandy connector, so that'll make that even easier. So let me get this one straight, and then we can start hooking up wires. Okay, are we still in the picture? Yep. I guess there's even screw holes here. I guess you could put screws on there. And what do I use? This is E6000 glue. It's glue I use with 3D printing and stuff. So, so it works for me. There's probably better glues. And one thing I did notice is you want to make sure when you're doing this, you put like the red to positive, or the positive one. It's not red. This is yellow. To the positive, and you want to make sure it seats in there all the way to the back. Okay. So now, this hose clamp. And I'll try to put this video on YouTube also, and on my website, joes3d.com. It has like instructions. This is a 1 3/16 to 1 3/4 hose clamp. Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh, I know what I did. I was like, how did I do this? What happened? Do I have a flathead? I will need a flathead. Da-da. Here, keep an eye on my table while I grab a flathead. I am of the mind that you should never, that no one should ever design anything with flathead screws. That's what what I have an opinion of. Someone might be able to tell me why I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I think flathead screws are just old. Okay, so if you see here, what I did was I completely undid the clamp, the hose clamp, so I could fit it around here without having to try to get it. It wouldn't go around that buck converter at all. And I'm going to get it snug, but so that I can move it. Close, pretty close. Let me see, we're getting there. This would be faster if it was a Phillips head. Everybody knows Phillips is faster. Okay, there we go. So I set it so I can just have it sit there. And then, let me see, where is that? I'm gonna put some of this glue. This glue is very, starts kind of tough. It dries in the tip a little bit, but once you get it going, it's still a pain in the butt. Okay. And then what else was I gonna say? And I want to make sure that all the glue is below the lip, which I think I just, let's see, this goes there. I'm just gonna put it down here. Okay. Put a cap this so it doesn't. Let me make sure with the paper towel. I think make sure I don't have any up on top of here because I don't want it to adhere to the top half of the body. So I just do it on the bottom half. Okay. Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna slide that in there. My slot's a little, what's the word for it? A little tight, but I can get there. Here we go. I'm going to take this hose clamp and push that right up against it. And you want it facing towards the back. You could probably face upwards too, but facing towards the back. Okay, before we go too much further, what I would like to do is I would like to hook up the wires that I have so that I know that I'm not working for naught. But we're almost done here. It didn't take long at all. I don't think it took long at all. Other people might say it did, but... And hey, things can always go wrong. So we're doing pretty good. And this was the positive. So with this one, I like these little clips. The only thing is you got to make sure you hit the very back, that you're not like, okay, there we go. That's the positive, and then the negative right here, I've got that marked. And you could probably clip this shorter, but it fits in there. Everything's been happy so far. Okay. I want to make sure this is turned off. So let me show you where this is so far. Okay, so we got this on, and that's pretty tight there. Something I did with my first one, and I might as well do this now, is I clamped that against the housing for a little while and let it dry. And I'll probably do this. And then I can put this motor straight back into there and push all these wires right in the middle. So let's actually test it, because at this point everything should work, like this one over here. Now, with that one I did, the button had a problem with it, and I had to change the button too. That wasn't a pain in the butt, but I happened to actually have a button. Button, who's got the button? I had the button. Okay, we're gonna see if this works. I don't think I have any wires discombobulated. Now I never, as I was saying, I never saw this work personally. I don't know if that was always the problem. I could do, just in case. I'm going to, we're going to go a little bit more with this one. I'm going to pretend and assume that what's wrong with this was the same thing wrong with the other one. That it's possible. Oh, what I could do, hold on. That's on there. Hey, nothing like... Oh, is this the wrong one? No. Here we go. Let's test and make sure I have juice coming out of the battery. There's this. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, so there is juice coming out of here, so that's not the problem. And we're going to make sure this goes into positive. Okay, and then I'm gonna let's cut this a little bit shorter. Yay, I'm glad that didn't actually cut. Okay. Make sure this goes here. But if it's the battery, at this point, the thing should work. And then your only problem is you have to put everything back together. Okay, so let's see. Let me see, this is here. It would be... Oh, I get what's going on here. Oh, why do they have those? That's annoying. I'm right here, I'm testing the voltage to see what's coming out of the switch. Okay, that's actually 12 volts coming out of the switch. So it's not the switch. Let's double check that. Once again, I was afraid because I don't really, like, if it dies, you can't really tell whether or not it's dying because... So in other news, I'm going to take my pump that actually works fine. Yeah, the switch is working fine, so it's not the switch. So it's something with the board. With this one in particular, there's something with the board or... Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Huh. So if that works, let's get the rest of it back together. So all that is supposed to work out good. And then I'm gonna slide this pump in. It's gonna be tight, but that's okay. So they got that. And then we're gonna take this and we're gonna put this back in here. I just squeeze a little bit. Okay. Where is my screwdriver? Get these back on. So what I can do is I can actually test. Let me see here. On. No, that's that side. Let's see. Well, that should have done it. As I said, I have... So anticlimactic, I hate that. I have my fully working pump that I'm going to be murdering tomorrow. And I will put that up on YouTube. What else could I do? Where does that one go? That one goes there. Let me see if I can get in power to right there. Let me see. There. Well, so it's getting, so power is actually getting to the board. it's getting to those leads. It's possible these motors are burnt out. And honestly, without, yeah. Take those off. So I got the power in, but as I said, this was a hand-me-down. I don't know, like, for sure why it stopped working. I don't know the conditions. It's one of the problems you can have. So wait a minute. If that's there, here, and here. Let me see. No. Let's see. I'm testing to see if power's, getting to the motor. I guess it wouldn't. So that's negative, that's positive. I wonder. Well, I'm gonna, let's see, where does this come from? This is, okay, oh, that's the switch, but, it goes there, that's the, okay, let's see, this goes in here, and then out into the switch, so I could take these off. Okay, so let's see if it's the button. Okay. Ugh. I'm gonna keep these together so I know. Okay, so if battery is out, machine is off. So if you didn't have a problem, I'm wondering if it actually might be the button. I wish I had a remote button for this. If you didn't have that this problem, all you would be doing at this point would be putting it back together. You tuck the wires in, you zip tie it all up, and you put it all back together and put all the screws back on. Remembering that when they tuck this, they actually ran, did it run around that way? Yeah, they ran that around that way to make room. So that would be the end of this. I'm going to play around with this because I think it might be the button, and if it is, I can replace a button. That's not hard. But that's how you do it. That's how this other one here worked. Thanks for watching. I will post later if I get this up and running. And then it might be the solution to a different one I'm working on. So there you go. Thanks for hanging in there. Bye.